Good morning and welcome to Breakfast News. I am David Obohwasile. Anambra State Assembly passes Assembly Service Commission Bill. Journalists meeting in Enugu to fight fake news. UAE denies suspending issuance of 3-month visa to Nigerians. Maoist rebels suspected of killing 5 soldiers ahead of general elections. We begin from here in Oka, where the State House of Assembly has passed a bill to establish the Anambra State House of Assembly Service Commission. The bill, which was sponsored by Barrister Chugbo Enwozo and 26 others, House of Assembly correspondent Chukwuemeka Modern filed the report.
The commission, according to the bill, shall comprise a chairman and 4 other members, with at least 1 member drawn from each of the 3 senatorial zones in the state. Speaking on the merits of the bill, the chairman, House Committee on Services, Chief Boniface Okonkwo, whose committee scrutinized the bill, emphasized that the bill, when assented to by Governor Willie Obiano, will enable the House to discharge its duties creditably without any form of interference. Chief Okonkwo commended members of the House, particularly members of the committee, staff of the House, and House of Assembly correspondents for the roles they played to make the bill a reality. On his part, the member representing Onitsha North 1 constituency, Barrister Chugbo Enwozo, expressed joy that the 6th Assembly has set precedents by passing a bill that will strengthen the legislature in Anambra State.
And if you look at this bill, it says a clerk. What are the functions of the clerk? The general running of the house. If you look at our rules, it says, so another division, says the arms is in charge, is the numero uno.
Speaker of the House, Mrs. Rita Madawo, noted that the 6th Assembly has repositioned the State House of Assembly by passing a people-oriented bill, as passing a bill that will improve the performance of the House is no mean feat.
Duties of the accounting officer, the establishment of the House Funds Management Committee, composition of the board, I have it.
From the State House of Assembly, Chukwuemeka Modern, ABS News.
The Anambra State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has continued her ongoing war against articulated vehicles that disobey traffic rules with a visit to Enugu, where they impounded 32 offending vehicles. This brings to 84 the number of vehicles impounded since they commenced the enforcement exercise 2 days ago at Onitsha. Valentine Mbadowa has a detailed report.
The increased rate of road traffic crashes involving articulated vehicles in the state, having raised greater concern, necessitates relevant agencies to rise to the challenge of reducing its occurrence to the barest minimum. Speaking while leading a team of road marshals to Nnewi for the enforcement of safety directives, the Anambra State FRSC Sector Commander, Mr. Andrew Kumapai, who decried the level of loss of lives and properties as a result of road crashes involving articulated vehicles, appealed to drivers to be safety conscious by abiding by the traffic rules and regulations.
Offences ranged from license violations, dangerous driving, worn-out tires, overloading, some failure to cover their particles, what they are carrying, those tippers. And some of them even have extra coach, which is against what is expected of them.
Contributing, the Nnewi Unit Commander, Assistant Corps Commander Christy Obasi, expressed delight over the results from the exercise. She called on articulated vehicle drivers and all other drivers that ply the highways to collaborate with the agency by adhering to all the traffic rules.
Arrested on ground here about 32 of them that have committed various traffic offenses, and it's not going to stop. We are going to continue.
Some of the drivers, including Mr. Lawrence Onyeka and Mr. Anthony Okeke, who admitted being guilty of the offenses for which their vehicles were impounded, commended the commitment and zeal of the FRSC in ensuring safety on the highways, assuring of their full compliance to ensuring that their aim is achieved.
And had a Zoku, where Oga, my woman, Megidani. And now would to honor the Obodaisi wed, and I'm managing, when you're and I manage.
Because of even didn't know the end or the whole level. So I'm not going to grass and what I want. I'm going to change the grass and see okay.
Some of the offences that the drivers were charged with include non-provision of vehicle papers and driver's license, expired driver's license, overloading, worn-out tires, overspeeding, non-usage of seat belts, ineffective speed limit device, amongst others. From Nnewi, in the Nnewi North Local Government Area, Valentine Mbadoga reporting for ABS News.
The need for broadcast stations to synergize through staff exchange has been stressed. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS, Chief Uchenwora, made this call while playing host to the new General Manager of Radio Nigeria Purity FM Oka, Mr. Uchenna Chukwedo, in his office in Oka. Ekwiyajide reports that the new General Manager was accompanied on the visit by some senior staff of the establishment. Her report is taken from here.
Chief Nora, who said the visit was an opportunity for them to meet physically and synergize, advocated a roundtable discussion for heads of broadcasting stations in the state aimed at exchanging ideas, facilities, and experiences. According to the ABS boss, the media world is changing through media convergence. Therefore, all hands must be on deck for better productivity.
I'm hoping that during your tenure, we will strengthen the relationship. And even more, see also if there are other things that we can do better that we've not been doing.
Earlier, the Purity FM General Manager, Mr. Chukwedo, said the essence of the visit was to share ideas and partner the ABS.
We're very happy that we are here today with you. There will be very much more other avenues and opportunities where we'll be collaborating.
The head of news, Purity FM, Mr. Chris Obileri, said the industry is fast growing and prayed that the existing collaboration between the stations be sustained. He described the ABS as the mother of all broadcast stations in the state.
We appreciate the efforts you've shown so far to ensure that the industry is fast moving in the States.
In Oka, Ekwiyajide, ABS News.
In the present era when countless fake news and misinformation have taken over the media airwaves, FactCheck Africa, the continent's first independent fact-checking organization, has kicked off a two-day training for 20 select journalists and editors from the southeast Nigeria in Enugu. The workshop is hinged on basic and advanced fact-checking methodologies and tools to promote public accountability and evidence-based public discourse. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe is taking part of the training from where he filed this report. Two-day workshop is meant to expose practicing journalists to the rudiments of factual information, how to separate facts from fiction, and how to hold public officials accountable for whatever false information they dish out. The workshop, which has the support of the United Nations Consulate in Nigeria and the International Press Center, was anchored by international media trainers who took the participants through the basics of identifying and questioning fake news using evidence-based strategies. Raymond Joseph, an international media trainer and journalist who was one of the resource persons at the workshop, spoke about knowing the quality of the source and whether any important information has been excluded in a way that influences the interpretation or application of the data.
Fact check someone's opinion. There's another thing you can't fact check. You cannot fact check the future. If someone says, we are going to build so many schools by then, well, we're going to have to wait and see what you do. It's going to rain. It's going to be heavy rainfall here in 2 weeks.
The need for young priests and seminarians to deepen their study on philosophy so as to better teach the Catholic doctrine was the focus of lectures delivered at the 14th Memorial Lecture of Pope John Paul II. The event was held at Pope John Paul II Major Seminary of Uno, Oka South Council area. Correspondent Njide Kokoe covered the event and now reports.
The event was held to mark the 14th year anniversary of the death of St. John Paul II. This year's memorial lecture has its theme as African Conception of Man and Challenges of Insecurity in Contemporary Africa. In a keynote presentation, the Catholic Bishop of Nsukka Diocese and Pro-Chancellor of Enugu State University of Technology, Enugu, Most Reverend Professor Godfrey Ona, stated that whatever any African philosopher has said, thought, or written about human beings should be regarded as a perspective that grew from his African experience and culture on usage and internalization of African culture, and not necessarily the whole representation of Africans and what they mean about human beings. He called on the seminarians to take the study on philosophy serious.
I have been able up till now as a bishop to find theological answers to problems I didn't think of before, because I constantly applied rational deduction to the theological and doctrinal principles I received.
The rector of the seminary, Reverend Father Dr. Benjamin Ewelo, in his church listed challenges of insecurity in Africa, noting that African conception of man is good but needs to be Christianized, urging the seminarians not to joke with the opportunity they have.
Especially in fishing out top intellectuals to help us discuss the issue of the concept of man and the challenges of insecurity in our continent, Africa.
One of the lead presenters, Mr. Michael Ozumba, said the present insecurity situation in Africa began years back during the Atlantic slave trade by the Europeans, which resulted to the defilement of African culture. In their remarks, the academic dean of philosophy and chairman planning committee of the event, Reverend Father Dr. John A.K., and the chairman on the occasion, Dr. Charles Nweke, charged the seminarians to toe the path of the late philosopher Pope John Paul II, their patron saint. A seminarian, Solomon Ezekweme, said he has learned a lot that will help him achieve his ambition of becoming a Catholic priest after training. Enoka Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
The United Arab Emirates Embassy in Nigeria has denied suspending or stopping the issuance of 3-month visa to Nigerians traveling to the country as a result of a robbery allegedly involving 5 Nigerians in Dubai. The embassy in its Twitter handle at UAE Embassy Nigeria described the news as inaccurate and stressed the importance of sourcing news from its official channel. Meanwhile, the mission confirmed that there were no changes in the visa policy at all. 5 Nigerians allegedly broke into a bureau de change in Sharjah area of Dubai and robbed it. Shortly after the incident, a travel and tours agent issued a statement online that Nigerian passport holders were no longer entitled to a 3-month visa in UAE. Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, Special Assistant to President Muhammad Buhari on diaspora, had described the action as disgraceful. Many Nigerians visit UAE, especially Dubai, on business trips. And on business this morning, the federal government is to issue promissory notes worth 195.08 billion naira to 270 companies to settle part of the export expansion grant liabilities to exporters. The amount is expected to bring succor to the export sector in particular and the economy in general, following a series of delays that have plagued the release of the EEG. The EEG is an initiative of the federal government that was meant to encourage exporters of non-oil products, including agro-commodities, in order to cushion the effects of infrastructural deficiencies and reduce the overall unit costs of production. It was introduced through the Export Incentive and Miscellaneous Provisions Act, Cap 118 of 1986, to enhance the contributions of non-oil exports to the national economy. The mechanism is such that a financial credit applied to the value of exports of products from Nigeria ranging from 5% to 30%. The financial credit is not cash-funded but provided as non-negotiable duty credit certificates which can be applied against import duties on other items. Suspected Maoist rebels in India have killed 5 paramilitary soldiers in 2 separate attacks in the state of Chhattisgarh, days before the region votes in general elections. One soldier was killed yesterday during a gun battle in the forest of Salagat in Damatri district, while 4 troops from the Border Security Force (BSF) were killed in Kanka district. The attacks have raised security concerns ahead of a scheduled election rally today by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Deputy Inspector General of Police said that security forces started massive operation against the Maoists in the forest of Salagat yesterday morning after getting a tip-off. Bhupej Baghel, who took over as Chief Minister of the mineral-rich state 4 months ago, blamed the previous Bharatiya Janata Party for the rise of Maoist influence. Modi's Hindu nationalist BJP ruled the state for 15 years. Tens of thousands of security forces have been deployed to defeat the Maoist rebels who have waged a guerrilla war for decades against what they call expropriation of their resources. And on sports, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has hailed Raheem Sterling's decision to buy 550 tickets for his side's FA Cup semi-final against Brighton for pupils of his former school as an incredible gesture. Sterling grew up in the shadow of the old Wembley, having moved to England from Jamaica at the age of 5. The England international has become a key figure not only on the field for club and country, but an increasingly prominent campaigner against racism. Sterling was allegedly targeted by racist abuse earlier in the season at Chelsea and also spoke out as England players suffered more disturbing scenes in Montenegro last month. Sterling's England teammate Danny Rose admitted this week he cannot wait to retire given the lack of leadership from the football authorities in the drive to weed out racist abuse. However, Guardiola, whose side faced Rose Tottenham in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final tie next week, encouraged the left back to stand up and continue the fight against discrimination. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. You can like us at www.facebook.com/absradiotv. Or you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Now the main points again before we go. Anambra State Assembly has passed Assembly Service Commission Bill. Journalists in Enugu are meeting to fight fake news. UAE has denied suspending issuance of 3-month visa to Nigerians. Maoist rebels is suspected of killing 5 soldiers ahead of general elections in India. And that is the news this morning. I am David Obowasole. The weekend show continues right after now.